What's going on, guys? It is a Tuesday night. Meteorologist Jonathan Kegges back with you at 9:30 on a Tuesday. We're here every Monday through Friday to talk about all things weather, especially when it pertains to the tropics during hurricane season, which thankfully is winding down fast. And then, of course, all things Florida weather. And then whatever you want to talk about. That's what's great about the show. We have the conversation about the weather. Post in the comments where you're tuning in from tonight. A lot of stuff to talk about because we are looking kind of in the long range here as we track our first, well, I guess Halloween was our first kind of big cold blast. This one, though, is going to one up it. So we're going to talk all about that over the next 30 minutes. First 30s of the season is going to be possible over the next, once we get into Tuesday morning. It's not going to be everywhere in Central Florida. North Florida will have the best opportunity for that to happen. I think most of Central Florida will be in the 40s. I will show you that forecast in just one second. And then on the tropical side of things, big update from the Climate Prediction Center when it comes to the rest of the season. Of course, I gave you my thoughts last night that said that I think that it's done. Because of these cold fronts that continue to come through. Not only are we cooling the water down in the North Gulf and in the Eastern Gulf, but we are also suppressing things way further south into the Caribbean, and it's going to be hard-pressed to get anything to develop. We're going to take a look at what the Climate Prediction Center has to say coming up in about 15 minutes on the other side of the Florida forecast. And then, of course, any questions you may have, throw them in the chat. I will do my best to get to them, certainly by the time we get towards the question and answer section. Bonus tonight, if you've been outside this evening, you may have looked up and you saw the very big, bright moon out there. It's a super moon. Second one of the year. We have 3 of them. Anytime the moon is in within about 10%, give or take, of the closest point on approach, in perigee as we call it, it is considered a supermoon. This one happens to be the closest and the brightest out there right now. If you happen to have taken a picture, click orlando.com/pins or on the free News 6 weather app, submit that, and I will do my best to get that on TV tonight. Beaver Moon is up. It's officially full at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning, give or take, but it's pretty full now, and it's going to be pretty full again tomorrow night. So we kind of get the bonus nearly full Beaver Moon, which is a super moon. You can kind of see that on display there in Delray Beach. Again, there are no lights on that beach, but you can clearly see it's illuminated by the super moon. So really cool stuff there when it comes to the second super moon of the year. Of course, the harvest moon was back on October 6th. It is nice and comfortable right now. Mimi Love Good Law. I need to order it. I need to get on it. And, I mean, it's going to come into big play this weekend. I should say Monday into Tuesday and into the most of that week ahead. Melissa, you can always ask something. Post it in the chat. I heard this was part of a meteor shower. The Torrids might be out there. I think the Torrids are early November. I think the Torrids are early November. The northern ones, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Temperature is nice and comfy out there if you want to go outside and try to see it. There are some clouds out there, but the moon is shining bright right through them. We're back to the mid-60s in Orlando, 57 degrees in Jacksonville, 51 in Tallahassee. It is oh so nice. Now, tomorrow we've been talking about this. Before this blast of cold air arrives, we are going to warm things back up again. Upper 70s from Pensacola to Tallahassee to Jacksonville. Tampa, we're at 84, 83 in Orlando. 84 in Naples. We're at 82 degrees in Miami. So the only opportunity for below normal temperatures in the state of Florida tomorrow, anyway, going to be into Miami. I'm going to bring up the model map because we're getting questions about the low 50s. So I only have Central Florida queued up for this, but I will show you that same parent model when we get to the. When we get to that, let me just load this bad boy up real quick. Okay, so when we get into that, I will show you Southeast Florida. All right. Melissa's asking, I heard on Facebook that it's going to be 39 degrees in New Smyrna Beach next Tuesday. Is that true? It could be, for sure. Yeah, no, I mean it's going to be close. We'll get into that in just one second. The first 30s of the season, you're too close to the beach to get 30s in my opinion, but it's going to be cold. Um, it's going to be cold. Interior Central Florida is going to have the better opportunity. There's Thursday, November 6th, back to the low 80s in Orlando, 83 degrees in Tampa. So here is the setup that does it all. Right now, we're going to continue to gradually warm things up again through the weekend. By Sunday, we're talking mid to upper 80s. This is the wavy jet stream, though, that is going to buckle and then send all of this chill down into the eastern two-thirds of the country. That big dip in the jet stream is going to send the coldest air of the season, and it shouldn't be close by the time we get into Tuesday morning. That front arrives on Monday and then slides back in on Tuesday and really settles in. So what happened to hold on. I got to change the, oh, I know why. Because I always do this. It updates now earlier because of the time change. So my data comes in and doesn't go as far out. There we go. Because the 18Z, the afternoon runs only go out a certain amount of time. These ones go out 10 days that I'm showing you here. So there you go. That is the forecast. This is the model forecast anyway. We're going to fine tune our own. But I certainly see this is next Tuesday morning. So a week from this morning. That is some crisp air. That is a very early onset for 30s. And again, this is why hurricane season is pretty much numbered. Its days are numbered. 39 potentially in Ocala, parts of Lake County, Sumter County, interior Volusia, and interior Flagler. I think New Smyrna, we stay out of the 30s. It's going to be cold. It's going to be cold. But I don't know that we hit the 30s. Maybe with the wind, it'll feel like the 30s. But right along the coast, we should be able to say a few degrees warmer. But nonetheless, it is going to be very, very cold from a Florida standpoint. I mean, that's cold anywhere, especially for early November standards. That puts us at about 20 degrees, give or take, below normal for this time of the year. So it is going to be very, very chilly. Now, there's going to be the opportunity for some frost in parts of North Florida. I think this one the frost potential is going to stay Gainesville and points north. Across the Florida Panhandle and then right along the Georgia-Florida line, that's where frost is going to be possible. I think it stays out of everywhere in Central Florida. I'd be watching maybe for some super patchy stuff maybe in Marion County, but we're going to fine-tune just how the front comes in, what the actual wind direction is, can we go calm at night, and all of those factors going to come into play when we're looking at that. But certainly it appears that Tuesday morning is going to be the coldest morning of the season. As a whole for the winter, it should be warmer than normal. As we move into the months of December, January, and February, it should be warmer than normal. We're getting back into a La Nina pattern. That should keep us warmer and drier for that 3-month period. But also in a La Nina, sometimes we are slated for these bigger cold shots like this. But more often than not, it is going to be warmer than normal. Whereas if it was an El Nino, that's what we're talking about. It's kind of crummy in the afternoon. We have waves of rain and cloud cover and all that stuff. So that's kind of the stuff there. But I don't think it's kind of weird. We're cooler in an El Nino, but I do think we can get colder at night in a La Nina year because our skies are typically a little more clear. The atmosphere is drier, so the temperatures fall a little bit more. So it's kind of that catch-22. Alrighty, guys, I have to get my first break in. On the other side of this break, we are going to talk tropics. There was a huge update from the Climate Prediction Center today when it comes to the rest of the 2025 hurricane season. We're going to take a look at what they have to say coming up in just 3 minutes. All right, guys, welcome back. Me Love, Good Law. I'm actually putting together kind of an extended outlook for December, January, and February. That's going to come out next week. So I'm going to look a little more in depth over the next few days to kind of get a gauge on if we're going to follow that typical La Nina pattern, and we are going to be on the warmer side. So I will have a little more insight to that as we get into next week. If you are still kind of putting off buying the wood, but you're going to want to use it this weekend. I keep on saying this weekend. It's going to be on Tuesday morning. That's going to be the coldest of the bunch. Unfortunately, it's falling on a Tuesday morning rather than the weekend day. Okay, so we are about to talk tropics. And first and foremost, since we are still in hurricane season, we're going to start with this. This is the National Hurricane Center 7-day outlook. No new development is expected. Okay, that we pretty much thought was going to be good to go in the clear. We're awesome. Okay. There's nothing threatening, and the cold fronts are coming like crazy, cooling things down, suppressing things. We love that this time of the year for sure. This next update brought tears to my eyes. Certainly, if you've been hanging with us for the hurricane season, you had thought you had known that we've talked about it looked like from the third week of September through late October, that 4 or 5 week stretch was going to be our hurricane season. Okay. So we knew in all likelihood that we were going to shut things down. We talked about that last night. But man, this is such a great, great feeling right here because while it's not over, the fat lady hasn't sung yet. We haven't had the victory cigar just yet like they do in Independence Day. But holy cow, long range outlook. This goes from now November 12th through November 25th. No development is expected by the Climate Prediction Center. And if you do the math, that gives us only 5 days remaining for the entirety of the month. I think we're going to do it, guys. I think we are going to get through without any kind of impact, direct impact from a tropical system this season. So that just brought tears to my eyes today. As we were talking about this last week, we talked about it yesterday, of course. I gave you my own thoughts, but it's just nice to have another entity, a respected entity, as the Climate Prediction Center, NOAA's Climate Prediction Center, to do that. Water temperature anomalies are still warm. You see, though, we are cooling things down by the shelf. We're pretty much either at or just below normal there. There is the little anomaly you still see even with Melissa around last week. It only cooled the Caribbean back to average. There's this one little speck where it kind of hung out where it's a little bit below, just right there, but still plenty warm to fuel something if something were to get going. Again, I don't think that's going to be the case there. Actual water temperatures here, we'll take the dabber back out and just kind of poke around. And I mean, down through here, this is where the loop current is. That's why it's so warm, where it's in the mid 80s. But I mean, right as you get into land, now you're talking mid to upper 70s. It can certainly sustain something, but it's just nice to see. Look at that, 72, 76, 75. Still warm. I'm just pegged the Gulf Stream right there where it was 84 off the coast of Fort Lauderdale. I'm choked up. I'm loving it. I don't know. I don't know about you. I will say, and there will be a time for my soapbox. Somebody in the local Central Florida market showed the GFS, okay, today. They're just trying to scare you. They showed the GFS popped off a pretty decent hurricane in the Caribbean, like in a couple weeks. I saw them show it on the news tonight. I happened to glance over, saw them show it on the news tonight. Inappropriate. So I just want to just go on the record there and just say, if you see anybody sharing any kind of doom and gloom model run, it's likely the GFS that they are showing, and it's likely not coming into fruition. There's nothing I see that's going to develop, and it is just, it's wild. It's wild to me. There's a difference, though. And I'm going to go on that soapbox. Probably, let me get my calendar out. Let's see. When is November 30th this year? I have to see when that is. If I can find the calendar on this phone. So November 30th is, I'll probably do it on December 1st. December 1st. That's going to be the soapbox. To end all soapbox is on the year that was the 2025 hurricane season. We will also do the recap on how things played out, how our forecast panned out, how the Hurricane Center forecast panned out, and all that stuff. All right, I'm blowing by my second break. I got to get this break, and then we'll be back to take some questions. Alrighty, guys, we have a few minutes left, just about 3. Post in the comments. A lot of comments about the GFS tonight. Yeah, the 18Z, again, went crazy. I mean, they doubled down on a 0Z run. That is the definition of the phantom storm. And, I mean, again, there's... it's just crazy to me. It's crazy to me that even on November 4th... Remember in Mean Girls, where they're like... Stop trying to make fetch happen. Like some of these, and there are some meteorologists here. Let me be clear. Like there are some meteorologists. There was one on TV in the Central Florida TV market that showed that tonight. And I wanted to beat my head against the desk because they're just right. Somebody, I think Mimi Love Good Law mentioned it in the chat. People feed off of the fear and the scare tactics. Like, I don't know, they like the drama. And it's just crazy. And they feed into that. And they give it to that. There's no scientific guidance. There's no meteorological guidance other than the GFS being on drugs. I mean, it's just it performed horribly this year, as noted by many in the chat, and it will. I mean, it's just yeah. It's I don't know. So I just it's maddening. Oh, I'm holding the receipts too. I am preparing for the December 1st rant. So you won't want to miss that. Because there's just been so many egregious things that I've seen this year. I don't know if the professionals are trying to keep up with the streamers that don't know what they're talking about or don't care to know what they're talking about, but like this is going to send me over the edge. Like it's November 4th. And certainly we can still do it, but we can still certainly in November. What I'm trying to say is you can get a storm in November, but if something's going to develop, you need to have more proof or more evidence than just the GFS on a rogue run in its early afternoon run, because the 18Z's runs are not as credible because they don't have the upper air data in. We're going to spend some time on this tomorrow because I'm going to show you that the GFS is whack. And if you've been with us for the entirety of the hurricane season, you know that. But we'll look deep into that phantom storm and prove that it is a phantom storm. Alrighty, guys, that about does it for tonight. Thanks for listening to me kind of go wild a little bit this evening, but it grinds my gears. It grinds my gears. Holy cow. Please let us get to December. I'm sure there's going to be a cloud in the Caribbean that someone hypes up on Christmas Day. It's coming. You know it. Alrighty, guys. Hope you have a great night. Enjoy the comfortable weather. Enjoy the supermoon. Click Orlando.com/pins. New 6 Plus, New 6 app. New 6 weather app. It is free. There's an icon right there to submit your pictures. And I'm going to go through them and fire some up for New 6 at 11. Catch you guys in a little bit. See you tomorrow night. See you at 10. Keep it parked here if you're watching on New 6 Plus. Thanks, guys.